Welcome to Gaming with Killian. I'm Killian, and I'm here to talk about the World of Warcraft. Today I'm going to be talking about some interesting things we're going to be seeing in the next big patch coming in Azeroth, Undermined. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the new warband backgrounds, a couple of mounts, and maybe some other fun things. Thanks again to Wowhead for doing all this data mining so we can see all these fun things. First off the bat, let's take a look at our 4 new screens for your warband characters. This is the background scene with your top 4 characters. We currently see our first 4 characters hanging around a campfire. The first and only one available right now is apparently called the Adventurer's Rest campsite screen. In the middle, there's a small pan of food around the stones on the fire. There's a table for planning on the right side. There's a small tent of loot. I imagine that tent is a good representation of all our warband banks look at this point. Mine is sure full of warband shareable things. I have to go in there and edit everything, get rid of things all the time. I'm pretty sure people are looking the same. In the background behind all our characters and their pets, there's a nice serene background of trees, a waterfall, a nice subtle rainbow. The whole scene is very nice and calming, and it's just a great basic background for World of Warcraft. And as we look at these other ones, I want to apologize for the low-res images. They're the only ones that are able to be seen right now. It's coming off of a selection screen. It's not very high-resolution images yet out of data mining. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose some of the finer details, but we can get kind of the good gist of it. But the first one we have here is an Onharan Overlook, harkening back to our adventures in Dragonflight. This one has a bigger campfire, a little less structures. It's another very calming background. I'm imagining the waterfalls in the background having some sort of the same mist as our first screen, and maybe some of the trees are being blown around a little bit. It hit back to some of the story quests we had to do back in that specific zone. This is one of the easiest screens to get, as all you have to do is log in to get the selection. Well, presumably you have to log in when the patch goes out live, but hopefully this will be just the easiest one we can get. The next one is called the Cultist's Quay, and it's a shot from Hollowfall, which you'll unlock at some point during the Seasons 2's Delver's Journey and your progression in there. I don't know where in the journal you'll have this available, but it sounds like one of the awards. This one is particularly dark with a lot more blues and grays and the darker wood board that you can see all over Hollowfall and other zones. In the background you'll see one of the Arathi airships and a giant waterfall. I'm expecting the waterfall to be animated, but it would also be amazing to see the airship move in or dock into somewhere in the background. Might be too much animation for these screens at this point, but those little details would just be great. Meanwhile, it looks like there's some crates of loot up in the corner, and up on the ledge is a little telescope. I really like the dreary and darker look of this one, but I think it could have had something in the middle to help center our attention. But also, I imagine it's a nice refresher piece that doesn't really need a middle part. I don't know which one will be better, but I'm looking forward to checking it out in game. The third new screen is called Freywald Spring, and is obviously a scene from Freywald Village inside the Isle of Dorn. This is a special place to me because it was the first place that I did any serious questing when I got into War Within expansion, outside of getting out of Dornogal. I didn't finish all the stuff there, but I remember sitting there and just taking it all in. The whole area is just really well put together, and this scene reflects that. I love all the knotwork in almost every element of Earth and infrastructure. Another part of their atmosphere is that nature is constantly encroaching all over their masonry and paths, and it just looks wonderful to live in. The screen itself is missing some foreground objects, but I still like it. And if you've done any of the stories in Freywood Village, the little pond in the middle has a lot of story beats to it, and as you can tell from the background video, that there's more things that they could have put on the screen. I'm not complaining, it's still very tastefully done background. I'm not sure what parts will be animated, but I'm looking forward to seeing it in action. This one seems to be a little bit more difficult to attain so far. Freywald Spring seems to be behind the achievement All That Kaz, which have 6 more achievements to achieve beforehand. Some of those you'll most likely have if you explored and quested in the expansion so far, but the other ones like Diplomat, the Lore Hunter, and Unlocking the Earthen are going to take you just a little bit longer than normal. But it's a good passive achievement to look forward to. The final screen we get to preview is called the Galagio Grand Gallery, and it's bright and colorful, and it's all that trash punk style the goblins in WoW are known for. This one ought to be animated heavily, but there's no way to tell if that's actually happening in this scene yet. This scene sports the goblin himself, Yalluik's center, but not exactly up in front. I love the tacky casino carpet, the lighting, and all the small details about this one. Unfortunately, the screen is behind another achievement that has another 5 heavy-duty achievements. But thankfully, if you plan on doing a bunch of exploring and questioning, it seems like this will be easy enough to get to. Either way, I'm looking forward to getting this and added to the library. Not exactly another screen, but another note that I think is really going to be nice here. Blizz seems to have added another randomizer for selecting screens. I really like that idea, and having a little surprise every time I log in is just fun. Just like the rest, it seems like you can select these different campsites from your login screen all the way at the top of your screen. I really like these added features, but another thing I really like doing is collecting mounts. It's the real end game of WoW. At the time of this recording, I'm just shy of 500 total mounts, but I like to get the rewards from playing the game. 11.1 is sure to bring more mounts, but I've found a few to look at so far, and at this time I don't think there's any hard evidence on how to get these or where they're coming from, but I'm going to take some educated guesses. First up, we have some Goblin Hyena mounts, which are some nice snarling boys. There are 4 different color varieties, and each one of them looks really well modeled and colored. I really like the handlebar on each one of them. I'm not really sure why, but I always find that characters with their floating hands are just kind of look a little silly, but so giving them a place where their hands are is just really great. These are probably rewards or purchasable mounts for getting the 4 different cartels up in their own renown or reputation tracks. Speaking of recolors and rewards, we have 4 new rockets. This is basically the Love Rocket from the Valentine's Day event, with some extra parts added to the nose cone and a few other added details. This isn't the most shiny or explosive or exciting mount, but even though they are the seemingly most basic goblin-style mount, I'd still rather have this as a reward or even a little bit of a currency sink than nothing. I bet money that these are purchasable or rewarded after you hit certain levels with the respective cartels, same as the hyenas. Next up, we have the Goblin Flying Machines. These seem to be remodeled versions of the Mimron's head, or at least have the same animation rig. If I had to venture a guess about where these came from, I'd suggest these are rewards for getting farther in the new rep grind that we have for the raid specifically. My reasoning behind that there's only 3 recolors, I'm not sure where or how else they could be dropped. It could be for more achievements from the patch, or they could be from completely 3 different random drops from the place, who knows. Either way, I love the dirty, scraped up look and the rickety look of it all. I really like the different colors coming out for the headlights as well. That reminds me to go look up some of the drive stuff coming to us in this upcoming patch and see if they have different headlights and if they're making any bit of difference. I think it'd be kind of cool to have some elite zones or elite races that require lighting to a point, and then you have to go looking for your favorite colored headlights. I think it'd be a cool little detail. But getting to the cream of the crop, 10 out of 10, best mount dropped in a long time, we have the Mecha Devilsaur. I complain a lot about how there's too much steampunk and lasers in my Sword and Sorcerer grain, but this majestic mechanical T-Rex gets the pass. It has a sparking ripsaw on the end of its tail, the back of its saddle has 4 exhaust pipes jetting out smoke and fire, and the power of all of this is making the armor on the sides glow and change intensity. And his mount special is a dragon roar that sparks coming out of its mouth. This angry lizard is probably only available for beating Gallywix on Mythic, or something equally as difficult, but it's probably going to be worth it. I think this is the first time I've seen a mount, and I didn't know what the requirements were, and I was already decided that I'm going to get this. I really want to call out how well the devs did with this model. Chef's kiss, y'all. It's so good. Keep up this level of coloring, textures, and animations. Just keep it up. It's all just fantastic. And to close this video out, I just want to point out 3 new things that we're going to be seeing. They're fishing bobbers, and I think they're just fantastic. I think we should be getting more of these. One of which is a rocket from, it looks a lot like the Wowhead rocket. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but I've been noticing from watching some other videos that those are pretty prominent. We're going to see a lot of the Wowhead style rocket in the new Undermined area. Next one's a hot dog, which I just think is pretty cool. It's got a couple of feathers on it to get the attention of all those really cool fish. And the last one is a Coca-Cola can, which is just kind of fun to have, and I think these are nifty. I look forward to using them because I really like fishing in the World of Warcraft. I think it's kind of calming and just kind of meditative. You could just watch some other videos and just enjoy the atmosphere, and it's fun. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, go ahead and give me a subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.